Please subscribe to our channel by pressing the subscribe button and the bell icon to receive updates on new videos.
So I am here today to tell you about what we are going to show you in each episode. What are the segments that we are going to discuss in each episode. Every episode we have designed in such a way that it's a combination of 5 or more than 5 segments. What are they? Of course, this same order may not be followed, but I would like to tell you the segments. There will be conversation, story narration, then you would also find an inspirational incident from great personality's life, or an anecdote, or a parable, grammar, and a quote for you to think over. Now I shall tell you individually about these segments. So first I had mentioned about conversation. So conversation is supposed to be between two people. They would come and discuss some issue before you. Then when they discuss, note down what are the points that they are discussing. You would have a story narration. A story would be narrated to you, and on the screen you find the scrolling coming up. Follow the scrolling and the narration. Try to learn the new vocabulary which is being used, the grammar, the structures, etc. Then another segment where either we would have inspirational incidents from great personalities' lives, or an anecdote or a parable which would be narrated to you. Once again the same point comes in. Observe the vocabulary that is being used, the structures, the grammar that is being used. And in another segment, we would directly discuss grammar for you, because grammar is the backbone of the language. So in the grammar, we would give the explanation for that topic. There will be some nice examples, the usage part, and also exercises which either would be in this episode or the next episode. Now sometimes these grammar issues also, they may not be completely discussed in one particular episode. Sometimes they may be carried over to the next episode and so on. And we would also show you one quote, one inspirational quotation. When that quote is shown, think about that quote, cogitate on it, try to understand and imbibe that idea and follow it in your life. So this is how we have made it a mixture of different things put together, and with the main aim, only one aim, that is learning of English. English is a language, and to learn the language you need to expose yourself to many things. So that's how we have designed these episodes, and I hope you will be able to learn the language quickly and easily. That's what each episode of our telecast would be giving you. Okay? So right away we shall get into the episode. Now we have some grammar for you.
Hello everybody.
Good morning, ma'am.
Hi Aruna, Sarita and Ramesh.
Hi, ma'am.
Good. Right. So you are here to learn something today regarding English language. Okay. Ramesh, you are from a village, I believe. So are you from an agricultural family? Okay. So do you know what farmers do? Right? Can you tell me a few sentences? What do farmers do?
Farmers early morning wake up.
Okay.
5 a.m. in the morning.
Farmers wake up early in the morning. Good.
He went to gardening to trees, lemon trees.
They go to fields. Right. They go to fields. Right. Aruna, do you know what do they do?
They wake up early every morning and they go to field and they
Right.
do their work regularly.
So Sarita, what are the works involved in farming?
The main crops are tomato, carrot.
Okay, they grow vegetables. Okay, some farmers grow vegetables. Some they grow paddy, that is rice, or wheat, sugarcane, whatever it is. Okay, good. So we say that farmers wake up right early, right? They go to their fields, right? They grow crops. Good. So in growing the crops, do you know what different actions you can highlight?
Wake up, go, grow.
Okay, here that's good. Right. Okay. And what are the other ones? Do you say that they plow the field? They plow the fields, right? They sow the seeds. Sow the seeds, right? They remove the weeds. Weeds. Weeds are the extra plants which grow in those vegetable or rice or whatever they are. Okay, they water the
Plants, field.
good, water the fields. They water the fields, good. Then once the crop is ready, they reap. Right, they reap the crop. Thus, they harvest the crops. Good. So, are we speaking about one farmer or many farmers?
One farm. Normally farmers.
Normally farmers. We are speaking about farmers normally. In the place of farmers, if you write a farmer, then do we say the same sentences? A farmer wake up early.
Farmers wakes up early.
Wakes up early. Okay, right. Then he
He goes to
goes to their fields.
Initially adding
Then
of yes or yes.
excellent. He
grows.
and he
Plows.
plows. Then he
So
sows. Then
he removes.
Then he
waters the field.
Then he
reaps.
reaps. Thus he
Harvests.
harvests. Do you know why do we use that SRES here when we change a farmers to a farmer?
Singular.
So either this is singular or plural. All these actions are routine actions of these farmers. Routine only, regular or routine actions of the farmers. So for the routine or regular actions of the farmers, we use the words in their base form, right? Base form, or for singulars we use in their yes addition, right? So when you say this is V1, we call it as Vs. So this V1 or Vs we use for only regular or routine actions. That is what we call as simple present tense. Speaking about the regular or routine actions only, we call as simple present. In a nutshell, to say, in brief, right? Do you understand this now? So you have understood how we use the action words to speak the regular or routine actions in simple present tense. Right. So, our topic is simple present tense today. Then when we deal with this simple present tense, we just go with I, we, you and they come under one category. They indicate all plurals. Okay. And he, she, it and all third person singulars. That means all singular names, right? All singular names we use samadha. So, in this case, when we deal with the simple present, do forms, we use do forms here and we use a word called have, and we also use for I we use am, and for we, you and they we use are. So, we call them as do forms, actions, they indicate actions. And when we use have here, this speaks about possession, right? These speak about position or condition or status. This you learnt in your verb forms under parts of speech, right? Do form, have form, be forms. Be forms, am or only we use with this. In addition to that, we are adding a V1 here. This V1 is nothing but our action word. Action word. Right. Then for he, she, it, yes. In the place of do we use does. In the place of have we use has. In the place of am and or we use is. So, we can make sentences with does, with has, with is and vs. For this he, she, it and all singulars. Right. So, with that, Sarita, you know doctors. Can you tell me a few regular actions of a doctor?
Doctor is
Okay, good.
patient.
Right. A doctor treats patients. Right, okay, patients.
They
Right,
prescribe
doctor.
medicines.
Very good. He
He prescribes
prescribes
medicines.
medicines. Right. Okay. Ramesh, what does a doctor wear?
Doctors wear a apron.
Apron, white apron. Okay, good. He wears a white apron. Right. Wears a white apron. Okay. Where does he work, Sarita, usually? Where does he go to?
Hospital.
Yes, he goes to, he or she, right? We have lady doctors also, right? Okay. So, he goes to hospital. Right, good. So, in all the days when he does all these things, if he is a surgeon also, does he perform operations?
Yes, ma'am.
Right.
Yes.
Okay, if he needs some more diagnosis, then does he prescribe any tests
Yes. Yes.
to be done? Right, okay. And if he, when he works in the hospital, does he look after the patients who are in the hospital? Means does he go to the wards to check the inpatients? Right. So, when I am asking you the questions, I start the question with does, because we are dealing with the singulars. Does he prescribe any tests? Right. Does he suggest, does he just suggest the diet also, right? Sometimes he suggests the diet, okay, but does he does he design a building? Does the doctor design a building? He doesn't. Then who designs the buildings?
Architecture
Architect.
designs the
Okay,
building.
so a doctor doesn't, right? A doctor doesn't. This is the short form of does and not, right? Does plus not, we are using a short form. So he doesn't design buildings, right? So a negative we are using. He doesn't design. Does he write the case sheet?
No, ma'am.
Does a doctor write or nurses
nurse
and
write the,
Good.
right.
So a nurse prepares the case sheet of the patient, but not the doctor, right? But not the doctor. Good. And so as when we do it for this I, then I play chess. Then we learn that these are used for only regular and repeated actions. So I play chess every evening or regularly, right? Regularly. I don't play, because I am not play is wrong, Ramesh, because this is an action. So actions don't take this am. Actions always take this either do or does, depending on V1 or Vs, right? And now what are the other time phrases, means adverbs of time we use for simple present? Always, generally, normally, regularly, often, right? Usually, sometimes, every day, every year, etc. Now, where else do we use this present tense? The earth revolves round the sun. What is it?
Universal truth.
Very good. This is a universal truth. So, a universal truth. So, for universal truths, we use this
Simple present.
simple present. Then, he has milk at breakfast. What is it?
Habitual.
Excellent. A habit. So, for habitual actions also, we use simple present. Good. Sachin hits a 6. Or Dhoni catches a ball. What are these?
Present
When
action.
the present actions only,
Present.
but what? Where do you hear them? Where do you listen to such commentaries? Cricket or football commentaries. Right. Then India wins the test. So after winning the test also, why do you find this India wins the test in the news headlines? Right? Have you observed the newspaper? It usually it is in simple present. So as a rule, news headlines also in simple present. Right? Okay, good. Then our actual regular or routine actions. So, apart from these regular and routine actions, not only this, supposing you say, make hay while the sun shines. Look before you leap. What are they? Have you ever observed slow and steady wins the race? They are called proverbs. So, proverbs are quotations or quotes. For example, Swami Vivekananda's quote also. Okay? Strength is life, weakness is death. So, whenever you quote that, it is in simple present tense only. So, universal truths. Okay. Along with universal truths, we also can make general facts. Bees make honey. So, this is a general fact, right? Universal truths, general facts, habitual actions, commentaries, announcements and commentaries, news headlines, regular and routine actions, and proverbs as well as quotations, right? In these cases we use the simple present tense. Now, what else do we use? Where else? Check this sentence out. The Bangalore Express arrives at 5 p.m. Now it is afternoon 2 o'clock, if you think so. At 5 o'clock it arrives also. They say it arrives at 5 p.m. So the Bangalore Express arrives at 5 p.m.
Future access.
Yes, excellent Ramesh. So actually this is a future, but they are already fixed, right? Future actions which are fixed or scheduled, right? They are timetabled actions. So, arrival of trains, buses and flights, these all we say that they are in simple present. Any officially fixed actions also, right? When do schools reopen? Right. If it is May also, and we know that schools reopen in June, that is a future, but as it is a fixed one, when do schools reopen? Let's see, look at this, schools plural, that's why we are using do. When do schools reopen? Right. Not only these few examples, there are plenty of examples which we can deal with simple present tense. And with conditionals also we use, like supposing you are telling somebody else, like if you work hard, as Sarita said, if you work hard,
You will get good marks.
will get good marks. Then what do you say? Work hard. So if after you are using present tense, though there is a future tense in the next sentence, we are using a present tense here. So with conditionals we use present form. If you work hard. So here the mistake is done like this. If you will work hard. Right. You will succeed or you will get good marks. No, this is wrong. We should use only work. Similarly, there are mistakes which you make in this simple present is, people who study in convents also, they often tend to make mistakes in this simple present tense. Right. It is the effect of mother tongue or it is the influence of mother tongue or other languages. So we get I will eat, okay, I will eat bread at breakfast usually. When you say usually, you shouldn't say this I will eat. Only you should say I eat. I eat. This is one condition. Next, he is visiting temples every weekend.
He
Some-
visits.
Yes. Good. Yes, Aruna.
He visits temple,
Right.
right?
What they say is he is visiting a temple every week. So when every week is there, you shouldn't say he is visiting. But in Telugu or other languages, when you say he is visiting means it's happening. So the same is applied here also, and people think that he is visiting a temple every week is correct. No, he visits. Because he is visiting is only a temporary action, right? Not every week. When every week is there, it is visits, not visiting. Take
If there
some
is
more.
no every
Yes,
week,
please.
he is visiting temple is
He is visiting a temple now. Only a temporary time if you mention, then you can use that he is visiting, but not everywhere. Okay. And similarly, using does with plurals, using do with singulars, those are also some errors. Let's look into some more. Like Ramesh, look at this sentence. If any correction is needed, do it. I doesn't like chocolates.
I don't.
Means I don't like. So I after doesn't is wrong. Okay. Sarita, look at this sentence. She doesn't goes by bus.
He doesn't
Go by bus. So after doesn't, go is correct, not goes. So when you use these expanded forms of do and does, you must use only a V1. In positive sentences, this do plus V1 becomes a V1 in answer. In positive sentences, this does plus V1 becomes a VS in the answers. That's why when you expand do and V1 only, you must use do plus go, does plus eat, like that. Then in answers, he go or goes, eat or eats, make or makes, like this. And there are plenty of actions with which you can make hundreds of sentences using simple present. So what we have looked into that, what does a person, okay, a person's, for example, a profession. If he is in a profession, what does he do, right? And what do they do, right? What do you usually do in the week, during weekdays or at the weekend? So these all you can make into number of sentences. So you work on this simple present tense and collect a few sentences randomly, positives, negatives, questions, like that. WH questions also. How often? Maximum you can make out the questions with how often. How often do you visit your native place? Right? Like that, collect a few sentences and get them to next class. Right? Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Now, listen to two friends discussing some important issue.
Good morning, Mansi.
Good morning, Varsha.
You know, Mansi, yesterday I was talking with my brother regarding punctuality.
Oh, is it so? What did you tell him?
I told him in a very simple language. Punctuality is nothing but completing your work within a time. Like you're completing your homework, your school projects, your office projects, or your work, completing all of those within a given time is nothing but being punctual.
I see. In fact, I agree with you. Recently, I wanted to finish a homework before my dinner and before going to sleep. Had I not planned properly and completed my homework before 9 p.m., I would not have been able to eat dinner on time, and my sleep would also have been delayed. So it is important that we plan and make sure we finish our work within a time. In fact, nowadays schools, colleges, even our offices, they are trying to make us understand the value of punctuality. You see, they are making rules. Come to the college by 9 o'clock or reach the office by 9:30. But we are not following those properly.
I must agree with that. We are not being serious about being punctual. We are not being punctual on the most important days as well. Like we have exams, we have meetings in the office, and we are not reaching our destination on time. Ante what happens if we are late to our exam? The exam is at 9 o'clock and we reach by 9:05, 9:10. Sometimes we even delay that as well. So what happens? You are tensed. You are not concentrated. You will not be able to write your exam properly and peacefully. That will disrupt your concentration. And if you are late to your office, to your meetings, once or twice they might give you a warning. Third time they might take a serious action, which is again not good for us. We are completely forgetting that being punctual will be very important at every stage of our life.
Yes, in fact, ippudanta day-to-day life activities lo, we don't feel that it is important to be punctual. If we get up late in the morning or if we go late to college, ponile 5-10 minutes kada, what is the difference? But in fact, if we are punctual on a regular basis, ఎప్పుడైతే ముఖ్యమైన పరిస్థితులు వస్తాయో, it will be very helpful for us. You see, if we have to go to an interview or if we have to take care of a family member, even a small difference of 5 to 10 minutes is very important, and if we are not punctual, we face lot of difficulties.
Correct. I think we need to make punctuality an innate habit, a proper habit. Ante we need to start our day on time, get up on time, eat, read, reach your school, office on time, then get back home. You'll have ample time, ante enough time to sleep, rest, and then wake up the next day. Because if you are punctual, you will be successful. That is the most important quality of a successful person.
Yes.
Let us listen to a story.
Put the glass down today. A professor began his class by holding up a glass with some water in it. Holding up means he was holding the glass, he was taking the glass and with water in it. He held it up for all to see and asked the students, "How much do you think this glass weighs?" So he asked the class students, like, what is the weight of the glass along with the water? 50 grams, 100 grams, 125 grams, the students answered. "I really don't know unless I weigh it," said the professor. "But my question is, what would happen if I held it up like this for a few minutes?" So the professor, he asked the students, what would be the weight of the glass? Then some said it is 50 grams, some said 500 grams, some said 125 grams. So in this process, now when he just kept on saying that, then he said, what will happen if I hold this glass up like this with the water? Then the student said, nothing. Nothing, the student said. Okay, what would happen if I held it up like this for an hour? The professor asked. Your arm would begin to ache, said one of the students. So the professor said, what will happen if I hold this glass of water for 1 hour? Then another student said, your hand will start paining. And you're right, what would happen if I held it for a whole day? Your arm would go numb. Numb means there won't be any sensation in that. You might have severe muscle stress and paralysis and have to go to hospital for sure, ventured another student, and all the students laughed. Ventured means it is telling out in a very polite and systematic way, he says that. Now, when he says, what will happen if, the professor asks, what will happen if I hold this glass for the whole day? Then the students say, your hand go numb, or even there will be a lot of muscle stress and there will be numbness, there won't be any sensation. It can also lead to paralysis and slowly you will have to take you to hospital. Then, very good. But during all this, did the weight of the glass change? Asked the professor. In all this process that went on, the professor asked, "Did the weight of the glass change?" And no, came the reply from the students. Then what caused the arm ache and the muscle stress? The students were puzzled. "Put the glass down," said one of the students. Now, there was no change in the glass, there was no change in the weight of the glass, there was no change in the water, but why did his hand ache? This puzzled the students. Then another student said, "Put the glass down." "Exactly," said the professor. "Life's problems are something like this. Hold them for a few minutes in your head and they seem okay. Think them for a long time and they begin to ache. Hold them even longer and they begin to paralyze you. You will not be able to do anything. It's important to think of the challenges in your life, but it is even more important to put them down at the end of the day before you go to sleep." Now, what we learn from this story is, as we go by, if you take certain things for some time, then they'll be there on your mind, no problem. But if you take the problems still for some more time, then the actual stress starts. If you take the problems for a whole day, then you will be totally paralyzed. The actual normal life also changes there. You will not be able to think well, you won't be able to act well, you won't be able to take right decisions at the right time. That way, you're not stressed. You wake up every day fresh and strong and can handle any issue, any challenge that comes your way. So remember to put the glass down at the end of every day. So what happens here is, first, whatever stress you have, whatever problems you have, just leave all the problems for the day. Solve the problems what you have, right from morning till night, whatever you have, try to solve those problems, and then by the end of the day you will have a good sleep and you can face the next day with new challenges more. Thank you.
Now, listen to this parable and try to find out the language elements.
Hello everyone, a good day to you all. Today, welcome back to another episode of English for All. We will discuss an interesting parable. Like I said, parable is nothing but a moral story, and I'm sure we'll be able to understand the moral of the story and make good use of it. Manasi, would you like to tell one?
I'd be happy to. So this story is about a foolish fox. Once upon a time in the jungle, there was a group of woodcutters. Now, woodcutters are people who use axes to cut down trees. So these woodcutters would work all day long, but whatever belongings they had with them, they would keep them in a specific place. So they would be working all day. At lunchtime, they would have a meal and continue their work after that. So whatever meals that they made, their lunch, instead of keeping it somewhere outside, they made a small hole in one of the trunks of a tree and kept all of their meals, all the food in that hole, and went for work. Whenever it was time for lunch, they would come to that hole, take the food, eat, and then continue their work. So this is how the routine was of the woodcutters. Now one day, a fox was wandering around the forest and it saw this hole with the food in it. Now luckily for the fox, the hole in the tree was not made very high. It was near the ground, so the fox could reach it. So one day, out of curiosity, the fox walked up to the tree trunk and noticed the hole, and it peeked into the hole and saw that there was a lot of food there. So the fox was excited because it was almost lunchtime. It looked around here and there was no one in sight. So the fox thought it would take advantage of the situation and decided that it would have some of the food. So it climbed into the tree trunk. Of course, it was a very big tree. So the hole was big enough for the fox to walk into, just enough for the fox to fit. Went into the hole, sat there, had some food, not all of it. It had about a little bit, half of it, and walked out. As the fox was walking away from the tree, it stopped. And what did it think? It thought, if I can finish all of the food that is there inside the tree trunk, I will be full for the rest of the day. I will not feel any more hungry. And plus, there will be nothing there left for anyone else to eat. So everything will come for me. So the fox decided that instead of eating moderately, it will finish everything that was there. So what did it do? Already it had eaten a little bit, so it had become slightly fatter. So it tried to get into the tree hole and found it little difficult because earlier it was able to fit easily. Now it had grown a little bit because of its big belly and it was just about to fit. Walked in, sat there, ate all of the food of the woodcutters. It made mottam khali chesesindi. It thought, okay, I'm full, I've eaten, I've had a good meal. And the fox thought, now it is time for me to go home. But as the fox tried to walk out and climb out of the tree trunk, it was not able to go out of the hole. It got stuck in the hole because it had eaten so much. Its belly had grown so big because of all the delicious food inside. The fox had become fat and it could not climb out of the tree trunk. No matter how hard it tried, it threw its arms here and there, it threw around its legs, it tried to move its body this side and that side, but it could not make itself budge and move out of that hole. So for quite some time it was stuck in the hole, and after some time, meal time had come, all the woodcutters came and they saw that there is a fox stuck in the hole and they thought it is going to eat all of our food. So they started hitting the fox and the fox got hurt. So what do we understand from this story? Initially, when the fox had had only a little bit of the food, it decided to leave. But then it stopped and said, I will have even more, because it enjoyed the food. So it did not stop. It wanted excess of everything. So that is the moral of the story. Excess of anything is never ever good. So even for the fox, had it stopped after eating only half of the food, it would have been able to escape from the woodcutters, But because it wanted excess of the food, it turned out to be bad for the fox. Exactly. In the same way, even for all of us in our day-to-day lives, we will come across several situations where we are enjoying something and we want more of it. Very simple example. We are eating chocolate, there is a dairy milk, there's a huge dairy milk silk. And we start eating it and maybe halfway through we feel, oh, it's so delicious. Perhaps we should stop there because it's good for our health. If we eat too much of it, the chocolate may give us cavities or it may give us a stomach ache because of too much of the chocolate flavor. So many things could happen. Even the same thing with ice cream.
Exactly.
Some of us just love ice cream. I love ice cream. So if I have a little bit of ice cream, it is good. But if I have too much of it, my tongue becomes numb. I can't talk. I get brain freeze and I can't think properly. So many things happen. We could even get a cold all sorts of repercussions could come.
Exactly. So the way you're saying is, just because we like eating, just because we enjoy doing something, that does not mean that you overload yourself with it.
Exactly.
You like chocolate, fine. Eat and enjoy with a small piece or maybe with 2 pieces. But that does not mean you end up eating an entire chocolate and fill yourself up so much when there is no such need at all.
Exactly.
The same thing goes for your ice cream also.
Exactly. In fact, this concept of excessive of anything is not good applies not only to food. Till now we've seen examples with food. I will give you another example with a real day-to-day situation. Suppose we all are sitting amongst our friends and we are having some light moments and joking around. Some of us choose to crack jokes about our friends, and that's fine. Now we can only crack jokes about people only to a certain limit.
Exactly.
If we cross the limit and make excessive jokes about the person, it will hurt their feelings.
Exactly.
So there also we should know our limits. We should moderate ourselves. The same moral, excessive of it is not good, it is bad, applies even in the situation of cracking jokes, of being mean to others, even in the sense of being very happy. If you're overly happy also, it is not good. So whatever we do, we should moderate ourselves. I think that is what we should take
A joke
away.
is a joke when all of us enjoy it, but it should not go to an extent where it ends up hurting your own friends.
Exactly. I think we've discussed something like this before.
I think we have.
Exactly. So this moral of excess of anything is not good is something that we can apply in our everyday life.
Exactly.
And I hope after listening to this story, each and every one of you also choose to apply it the same way we try to.
That was an excellent story, Mansi, and I'm sure that lesson will make an impact to all of us. And thank you all for listening this.